Raymond Zussman was born on July 23, 1917, in Hamtramck, Michigan, to Nathan Zussman and Rebecca Leah. One of 8 children, he grew up in a tight-knit family where his father ran a small shoe store. As a boy, he sang in his synagogue's choir, a quiet hint of the discipline and devotion that would follow him throughout his life. At Central High School in Detroit, Zussman, small in stature but not in determination, insisted on joining the football team despite his coach's doubts. After graduation, he went to work, joining Teamsters Local 337 and eventually rising to the role of shop steward. He spent a year at Wayne State University and took night classes in metallurgy, always pushing himself towards something greater. Everything changed in September 1941, when Zussman enlisted in the United States Army. Before he ever commanded a tank, he served as an instructor in street fighting tactics at Fort Knox, preparing others for the brutal realities of close combat. He entered the war in North Africa in 1943, then fought through the grueling campaign in Italy. At the Battle of Monte Cassino, he was wounded and awarded the Purple Heart. The Army offered him a safer headquarters assignment, but Zussman refused. He asked to return to the front lines. His request was granted. He was reassigned to a tank unit in France, placing him on the path that would define his legacy as one of America's most remarkable soldiers. On the 12th of September 1944, 2nd Lieutenant Zussman was in command of 2 tanks operating with an infantry company in the attack on enemy forces occupying the town of Noroy le Bourg, France. At 7 p.m., his command tank bogged down. Throughout the ensuing action, armed only with a carbine, he reconnoitered alone on foot far in advance of his remaining tank and the infantry, returning only from time to designate targets. He directed the action of the tank and turned over to the infantry the numerous German soldiers he had caused to surrender. He located a roadblock and directed his tanks to destroy it. Fully exposed to fire from enemy positions only 50 yards distant, he stood by his tank directing its fire. 3 Germans were killed and 8 surrendered. Again he walked before his tank, leading it against an enemy-held group of houses, machine gun and small arms fire kicking up dust at his feet. The tank fire broke the resistance, and 20 enemies surrendered. Going forward again alone, he passed an enemy-occupied house from which Germans fired on him and threw grenades in his path. After a brief firefight, he signaled his tank to come up and fire on the house. 11 German soldiers were killed and 15 surrendered. Going on alone, he disappeared around a street corner. The fire of his carbine could be heard, and in a few minutes he reappeared, driving 30 prisoners before him. Under 2nd Lieutenant Zussman's heroic and inspiring leadership, 18 enemy soldiers were killed and 92 captured. On September 21, 1944, just 9 days after the battle at Noroy le Bourg, 2nd Lieutenant Raymond Zussman was killed by a German mortar blast. His life ended only days after the heroic actions that would define his legacy. On May 24, 1945, during a graduation ceremony at the United States Army Armor School at Fort Knox, Zussman was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor for his extraordinary bravery at Noroy le Bourg. His father accepted the award on his behalf.